Okay, my friends, anybody that's been following me knows that Immanuel Velikovsky is my personal hero. He was destroyed by academia back in 1950. That's almost 75 years ago. And Carl Sagan attacked him viciously. They all did. And he had all the evidence supporting the fact that Venus was ejected from Jupiter as a fiery comet. And today they're talking about, they're just trying to figure out why it doesn't have a lot of water. It's over 800 degrees. I just can't imagine. You know, if you think you're scientifically educated, you got a shock coming, my friends. All right, I'm just going to hit you with the big guns. This is exactly what Immanuel Velikovsky said. And he published it in 1950. They made him take it off the bookshelves, the academics, by intimidating Macmillan, who was the publisher. But anyway, it said that around 1500 BC, the planet Venus was ejected from Jupiter as a comet or comet-like object, passed near to Earth. An actual collision is not mentioned, although it came back very close to Earth again and then smashed directly into Mars and destroyed Mars. That's what he did say. And they forced him to take his book off the shelves. Not only that, when he says it was ejected from Jupiter, it was literally born. And there's no way for him to know that. But he said in the ancient texts, the feared god Jupiter gave birth to a fiery comet which turned out to be Venus. And that's what was written in the ancient text. The feared god Jupiter gave birth. Well, birth through a vagina, yes. Now, I know this sounds crazy, but all of these things happened. These frogs and lice and flies and cattle and boils and hail and locusts and darkness and firstborn died, and all these things were recorded. And this was during the time that Venus was created as a comet by an explosion on Jupiter. And they claimed in the ancient texts it was the birth of Athena from the head of Jupiter. It left the Great Red Spot around 3000 BC and was ejected out of here and swung around towards Earth and back off again, which caused total cataclysm. And that was about 1450 to 1400 BC. Twice, very close to Earth, nearly collided with Mars. And I say it did collide, and I'll show you why, ejecting it from its original orbit. So Mars was smashed. And here's the smash. Boom. And Venus has a big electrical discharge in it because Venus spins backwards. It's 800 degrees there now. And you're wondering why. Let me just show you something, because let me just show you a pictorial of all of this stuff at once. This is the impact. Now, remember I told you Jupiter gave birth to the feared to Venus, which was a fiery comet. Jupiter was the feared god Jupiter. Now, through an actual vagina. And here it is right here. This is the Great Red Spot. That is an actual vagina. And here's how I can tell you for 100% certainty. First of all, the clouds are just swirling here and there. That's fine, but this is the actual construction of a vagina. This right here seals the deal. You see that tab right there? That locks the vagina into its position. That little tab and that little dot. This is a picture taken right there. They swooped right past it not too long ago. And it even has the hairline in it. It's got the labia majora and minora, the clitoris, the whole thing. And I'm going to show you the actual one of a human. There's that tab right there that I showed you. That's the most important part right there that you can tell, no question. Everything else is exactly the same. Now, this is called a Venus Mons. That's a bump. And that's what's causing the clouds. It's not a storm. You see this? The planet's rotating this way, through the clouds. The clouds are coming this way. When that bump which is a bump, comes forward, the clouds have to swirl around it. And that's exactly what's happening. That's where, this is the same size as us, Earth. They call it the twin of Earth. Well, when it came out of here, all planets have a right-hand spin, except this one. Instead of going this way, it rolled out going backwards. It's going backwards. And that's what gives it so much additional electric charge, because it's scrubbing backwards through all the other particles in space, which charge it up extremely. And when it hit Mars, it just discharged. You see that? That's Venus. It's spinning backwards, and it's charging up like unbelievable. And when it hit Mars, it just discharged and dug right through, and all like electrical discharges took off between the two planets and created that enormous gouge. This is as big as the United States. And I think this is the impact spot. All the way across there. And it killed everything on Mars. And Mars had the exact same stuff as we have here on Earth. A Mars crab is nothing more than muscle, an artery, and a vein. I know this is the Mars Morse code, the Mars blueberries, all of that stuff I studied, 100% biology. You see this? I'm saying there is nothing but biology. Some of it's enormous, some of it's just like us. That right there is interstitium. This is eroded interstitium. That's the skin, that's the skin. This is the floppy stuff with all the balls in it. This floppy stuff, all the balls have eroded away. These right here are exactly like the Mars blueberries. And there's a whole batch of them all over Mars up there. And because they've eroded away, all of the other stuff has eroded out. And they're from biology. They're the tiniest little things there are. For us, very, very small. Up there, it's like this. This is the Mars Morse code. That's nothing more than that interstitium, and this is the stuff pinched together, and this is stretched. Pinched and stretched a little bit. And these are the balls, and they've eroded away. Those are the Mars blueberries. And this is completely dusted off, like, because it's so dry up there. It just, like a sandblaster. It just very gentle sanded it off the surface. And you get down to a little bit more structure, and that stays. But the straps are not as strong as the balls. The balls remain. The straps can erode right out. The balls are pretty tough. They last pretty good. I mean, you can see they don't just go bad easily. All right, so remember this now. Both Mars and Venus approached the Earth repeatedly. Mars was thrown out into an elliptical orbit, and as a result nearly collided repeatedly with Earth in the years between 747 and 687 BC. I guess it was a real nightmare. And these are the drawings. Now, in 687 BC, the final near collision set them in their current stable orbits, which is what we see now. But he says no way was it like that before. And this is all the different things about Tiamat and the blood monster. I mean, all of this stuff seems crazy. But after studying the Mudfossil research that I have, it doesn't sound crazy anymore. I find this almost unbelievable. They're talking about Earth's twin, which is Venus, has almost no water. Oh, duh. Scientists discover why. It's 800 degrees, that's why. The hydrogen's been spitting off into space. Yes, obviously. Hydrogen disassociates. You know, the more heat you put into something, it breaks it apart. Researchers discovered Venus loses significantly more water than previously thought due to a process called dissociative recombination. Hydrogen atoms escape into space. Yeah. When you heat up water and you have H2O, you get vapor. It vaporizes, and you get some like lighter particles give off, and you can separate some of the hydrogens and they'll go away. But you're pumping energy into it, and that's what happens to Venus as it swirls through space, especially because it's going backwards. It's getting torn like crazy. And it's over 800 degrees. I can't believe they didn't expect us. All right, this is by Ovid. He wrote 15 books, starting from the creation right up. And one of the things right in the beginning, metamorphosis, transformation, is the unifying theme amongst all the episodes of Metamorphosis. Ovid raises it significantly in the opening lines. It says, I intend to speak of forms changed into new entities. Accompanying this theme is often violence inflicted upon a victim whose transformation becomes part of the natural landscape. Here, you're going to become a mountain, you're going to become a river, you're going to be this. This theme amalgamates a much explored opposition between hunter and hunted and so forth. Now, there's a great deal of variety among the types of transformations, human to inanimate objects like the Nile River, or like constellations, or like animals, or plants, from animals into ants, and fungus, and mushrooms, and to humans, from one sex to another, from any color you want to another color, turning into pebbles. Metamorphosis, it's a transformation. These gods could do anything they wanted, and they could transform themselves into whatever they wanted to, it appears to me. And that's what metamorphosis is all about. And Jupiter transformed himself, I guess, into a female body part, a vagina there, and ejected Venus. It was all written about, but they had it as Athena coming out of Jupiter's forehead. Why, I don't know.